While at Fort Gordon, Butch did very well. The Signal Corps Assistant Commander presented him with a letter of recognition for being placed in the top 10% of a class of 900, and he got a graduate with honor certificate. They were so impressed with him, they wanted him to go to the Pentagon. So he had to undergo the usual background scrutiny, but we had one problem. We had immediate relatives in Poland behind the Iron Curtain. Our mother lived in Poland for 20 years. She wasn't an immigrant. She was born in America, but she has two sisters that were born there, and one of them was married to a Russian soldier. So Butch couldn't get the top secret clearance. He got secret, and his destination was Vietnam. His first assignment was Da Nang, close to the DMZ border, North Vietnam. I didn't like it. The base was under constant attack from the Viet Cong, and shortly after those attacks, we would get a one-page letter from Butch stating, "I want you to know I'm okay," even though we had to duck for cover. He also, during his stay at Da Nang, some of his friends from the White Lake area, Pidge, Dennis, Rocky, were there for R&R, and they had some good times. While in Vietnam, he had a Mama Sands who did his clothes and did personal things for him so she could earn money for her family. He would also write and tell us about boys trying to sell their sisters for sex. And then he would tell us about the poverty of the people and told us to be grateful for what we have. His first year came and went. He's coming home. We were relieved that he had survived. While he was home with us for his 30-day leave, he reassured his whole family that he was okay. He knew where he was. And then he also gave us the bad news. He re-enlisted to go back. He says, "I know where I'm going. I am safe. I am safe." So after spending the 30 days with us, he went back. Approximately September 12th, he reached their soil again. And this time we're back to writing letters, and he informed us that now he's not in Da Nang. His best friend was asked to cover the city called Hoi An Communication Center, and his friend refused, and Butch volunteered. He says, "I'll go." So he says, "I'm 30 miles south of Da Nang," and he says it's only going to be a temporary assignment. Armistice Day is November 11th. It is also our sister Irene's wedding anniversary, and that was on a Saturday. November 12th was a Sunday. Mom and I went to church, had lunch. It was a beautiful fall day. We went to such a beautiful day that I went and watched football games because my job was to report the news. We didn't have communications like you have today. Remember that, folks. So I had to write about the sports, and it was the Lions game. Mom and Dad were out raking the yard. Boom. I looked at the clock. It was 12:30. I heard this noise. I went out and checked with Mom and Dad if they heard, and they didn't hear it. So I went back and watched my game. Didn't think much about it. About 9:30 in the evening, Mom, Dad, and I were in our night clothes watching Sunday night TV, and a knock at the door came. Mom went to grab a robe. I went to turn the outside light on, and I looked through the door, and I saw a man in uniform. And from what I've read, I knew this wasn't going to be good. I yelled to Dad, "Dad, get a hold of Mom." I let the lieutenant in, and as he said, he told us that Sergeant Sylvester Sagan was killed today in Vietnam. I asked him what time. He said 12:30. I heard my brother died. The lieutenant went on to explain that he didn't have too much facts about what happened, but as he learned, he would share it with us. But he needed to know and start planning for the procedure for the funeral. First of all, was it going to be home, or he could be buried at Arlington Cemetery in Washington, D.C.? Well, there's no two ways about it. Ma wanted her baby home. I notified the family and told them what was going on, and then we waited until we were notified, and we were finally notified that Butch was coming in on November 19th. His body was being flown into Chicago, and then he would board a plane for his last journey home to Muskegon. Estimated time of arrival was about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Frank, Irene, Barb, and I, along with the funeral director, waited for the train. The train is in, and we saw a soldier disembarking and walking slowly to the baggage car, and we got out of our vehicles and followed suit. And as we were walking to the train, we noticed the door to the baggage car open, and there I noticed my brother in the casket. It's not the way I wanted him home. The Lord took him 12,000 miles away from home in a strange land. He didn't fight in the hills and the rice paddies like so many of you have done. And then I remember, I'm safe. Family received 2 beautiful floral arrangements from Hawaii, from both comm centers that he served in Da Nang and Hoi An. Frank said it's very unusual to receive flowers because the military, all they do is wrap the personal belongings and ship it home. Funeral was scheduled for Tuesday, November 22nd, with full military honors. All I can recall is the honor guard came from Fort Benjamin, Indiana. The sergeant who escorted my brother home remained with his body whenever it was open for viewing, and he became part of our family. Funeral was Tuesday. The honor guard came early to the funeral home. They loaded his body in the hearse. After the hearse, I was driving the lead car with my parents, and rest of the family, that's brothers and sisters, and his godfather followed suit. We're taking Butch home. We drove up the circle driveway. The house is on a hill. The hearse and the lead car, which is my car with Mom and Dad, took Butch up on the hill, and we paused for a few minutes. The mission was accomplished. Butch came home for the last time. Afterwards, we went to the church. Mass was held, and at the cemetery there was a 21-gun salute, the playing of taps. The flag was folded and given to Mom on behalf of a grateful nation. Mom kept that flag in her living room until she passed away. In the spring of '68, a flagpole was erected outside of the house on the hillside, and a flag flew there until they passed in '93 and '94. But it was never the flag that was on the casket. It was always another flag.